I didn't want to be the person that would help save the world. And that might sound really crazy to you, but I knew I could do that. I knew I could help save the world, but it was such a great responsibility that I didn't want to do it. I just shared another video a little while ago on social media where I said I didn't want to be me. And I will tell you that is the one difficulty you will have in your life is not wanting to be yourself because who you are, who you're born to become is within you. And when you become that person, then everything is wonderful. But my journey was a little bit different. I didn't know who I was going to become, and I definitely didn't know I was going to become this mystic or a sage that was going to bring in work that could help people become their greatest self. See, that's all I had to do. All that I had to do to change the world, to save the world, is to guide people to becoming who they're meant to be, to ascend to the highest states of existence that they could possibly experience. And then they are happy, they're loving themselves, they're doing the careers that they want to have, they're prospering, and then the world change. And then the only thing we have to do is believe it. See, because I can say those words that yeah, I have something that would save the world, and people say that's not possible. You cannot do that. And I've heard that for so many years, except I'm seeing it happen. In my little world, I'm seeing it happen. I saw two things today that were just so astonishing. I had one person who's taken this work, and she said, I just got an offer from Sony Pictures to do an animated film for my book that I've written. And she says, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to take that. That's what that was. Then there was another person that a while ago was just so upset with what was happening in their lives and in the world says, okay, there's no point in living anymore. I'm just not going to be here. And now I see that they're happy. They've created this great business. They're thriving. They're doing all of that. And then I can say this. See, I'm 73 years old. If I could tell you how many people I've caused to become successful, it would be astonishing. And they have become far more successful than I have because I had to still accept myself. That's exactly what you have to do. Um, and now it was different for me because I became a mystic and a sage. I didn't know that was going to occur. I didn't know I was going to receive the information that I have, but that's what's happened. I was doing talk yesterday because I'm preparing to do a filming for Gaia, and I'm going to talk about our planetary ascension. And they wanted to know all about that. How did I know this? Where did that come from? Well, I said, well, yeah, for 35 years, I've been sitting down and I've been receiving cosmic guidance every single day. And when you understand consciousness and you understand energy and you understand how you can elevate your interest and your energy and your consciousness to reach a higher state, and then you heal and you prosper, and then you can see how the world would change because more people would do that. If you would listen to some of the other Wilhelm channeling sessions, you will hear they said in the very beginning when I started doing the live channeling sessions, well, if you can look at the world now and see that billions of people don't know who they are, then you're going to have conflicts. You're going to have things going on as we're seeing in our world now. And so it becomes how many of us are going to decide to reach the higher level of consciousness within us and ascend. And so she said, well, what is this ascension? I said, it's when you let go of all your old stuff. When you let go of your judgment, your self-judgment is the first place that you begin. And then when you can let go of that, then you start to feel better. You feel lighter. You move to the light. You don't feel the need to hurt people. You don't feel the need to kill people. You don't feel the need because you're happy with who you are. And just imagine if more people could do that. But the other process of this, when we come into the world, we have an evolutionary path that we have to follow. And it's just littered with all this old stuff that came from our ancestors, from everyone who came before, beyond our parents. It's our lineage, it's our DNA. And so we have to decide whether or not we're going to move through that. Well, I've spent 40 more years moving through it. So I understand the ascension process. You'll become afraid. You'll become really doubtful of yourself. You'll believe in the imposter syndrome. You'll suffer great losses financially because you're not willing to take the steps to go into who you are. I know that one real well because I've done it. I've created, but you can also create many great things. I've created so many businesses over the years. So I do know what you can do, but it's that ultimate goal that you have. And that is something that is unique to you that no one else can do. And it's your responsibility. And when you do that, you start to elevate your life, you put a new energy into the world, and then the world changes. And I just have the plan to do that. And I know that it works because it's already worked. And I doubted that at first. In 2021, when I would first discovered that I had accumulated this work, I didn't know what was going to happen. And then I put people into the program and their lives are changed. And I can say that because the only thing that I didn't do, and this is not new, the only thing I didn't do was raise the rate of it because I knew that if I could give people something where they're going through a process of self-development, where they're understanding who they are, and then becoming self-actualized, because that's what we all want, is to know that we have a place in the world and all of that. But then there's another aspect I talk about is ascension, because that means that we understand that we are spiritual beings, that we have some essence, we're connected to something greater than ourselves, and our responsibility in our lives is to ascend, is to evolve, is to offer something more. And that's what I'm doing. And sometimes it comes out in different ways. I couldn't have told you that I was going to sit down every day and receive this information and it was going to turn into this and then also transform my life. We talked about mind body healing, which I also am going to talk about on the when I do the filming in June, because I've had so much mind body healing. I want you to understand it is possible to heal so many things that you thought were impossible. And I'm going to talk about that because I've cured certain things that the medical profession say were incurable. We are never limited in our lives. It's only our thoughts. It's how much are we willing to believe in ourselves and keep taking the next steps. And so what I'm feeling now is that I'm having these incredible experience still that I'm like not aging in the way most people are. I'm aging the other way. And I can talk about that because it's happening. That's what's going on. And I'm saying it because I want more people to believe in what you can accomplish. I want more people to know that you are never limited by what you've experienced in your past or what you haven't done or any of that stuff. It's about what you decide to do in the moment and are you going to love yourself and take the next step. But I'm going to show you something else because I've talked about this. I'm spending the next month really putting so much more of this work in what I've accumulated into my program. But I want you to understand how it works. I receive information precognitively and then it shows up in our world. We all learn that way. We learn information and then it kind of makes sense and we embody it and then we can kind of do something with it. We do it everywhere. Any kind of education that you've had, whatever you do, that's how we live our lives. The only thing that we can control is our consciousness. And that's within our power. It's our thoughts, it's our actions. But we have to move through all the old stuff, the limitations that have held us back. And so what I was given was a guide. I've talked about this. I called it, it's an ascension guide. And I know it works because I end up a healed person who has understood the fifth dimension. That's the one I love so much because people think, well, how do we get there? You get there by deciding to change your mind, and it's a gradual process. Today is the 15th. I'm going to share something because my Wilhelm said they've given us messages over the last year that would really correlate to what's happening in our world now. Doesn't make sense, but if you understand how we change our brains over time, this will probably make a little more sense to you as well. But let me just show you something. I'm going back to 2023, and today is the 15th. And it says self-acceptance is a process. That's for all of us. We never know what that is. It's always different every single day. And so we have to be willing to embrace it. Then this is going to be tomorrow, which I will talk about this a little bit more because guilt, shame, and embarrassment can be helpful. Now, tomorrow we have some stuff going on in the United States where we're going to see a lot of guilt, shame, and embarrassment that comes up, and we each have to decide how we're going to deal with it because it's within all of us. We have evolutionary paths that have been dark. We're embarrassed. We've made mistakes. You move through it and you become lighter. Then the next one, you could change your world. That's means if all of us decided that we were going to be happy, of course the world would change. Then the next one, you can go back and read all of these too. It'll really help you. They'll be different when I put them out for 2024, but this will help you understand this curve that we all move through. You no longer need to sacrifice. That's what we've all done. I've done that so much in my life. And then you have to decide, I'm going to change my mind now and start to love who I am. Your progress is in consciousness is incremental. And that's the thing we have to understand because a lot of times we just want to get there. We don't want to deal with whatever's going on. But the fact is, we have to move through this process. Your new life awaits your arrival. That's all of us. When we decide that we're going to accept who we are, then the next day, love yourself more today because it is a process. You will have one day you're going to hate yourself and you're going to be all upset. And then the next day, you have another chance. That's what happens. Anyway, it goes on and on. And as you read all of them, especially leading up to our full moon, it will give you so much help and guidance. But also, I'm saying this because those who are in my groups, I want you to know this is where I'm moving now. Those of you who are still sitting on the fence, if you want to join the program, I would say now is the time to do it because when I take it to the much larger stage, it's going to be a much more than what it is. But what happens for you if you do this work, you will be transformed. You'll know your purpose. You'll become happier. You'll have great relationships. You'll become more abundant, and all those things will happen. And I can say that, and that's the guarantee because I know that it happens if you decide to become who you're meant to be. All right, you guys, see you soon.